Welcome back to the deep dive. Okay, so have you ever been like mid-conversation and suddenly you're mentally making a grocery list?
Oh, absolutely. Just to distract from the sheer panic.
Exactly. Or, maybe small talk feels less like chatting and more like a test you're just constantly failing.
Uh-huh. If that sounds familiar, then yeah, this deep dive is definitely for you.
We are jumping into the weird, wonderful, and let's be honest, occasionally sweaty world of social interaction.
Sweaty palms, definitely.
Right. And we're looking specifically at it through the lens of the overthinkers among us. Our source material today is pretty great. It's excerpts from the Guide to Social Confidence for the Awkward.
It calls itself a laugh-out-loud survival guide.
But honestly, reading through it, it felt less like a typical self-help book and more like, I don't know, like a really understanding, practical friend.
Yeah, empathetic is a good word.
Yeah.
So our mission here, yours and ours, is pretty clear. We want to pull out the core philosophy, like what makes this guide feel so comforting? And then, crucially, get to the really specific, actionable tips it offers. The actual how-to.
Mm-hmm.
The idea is you walk away with strategies to handle social stuff, not by faking it, but by kind of leaning into your own authentic, maybe slightly strange self.
And it's clear right away, this guide isn't about trying to fix anyone.
No.
It's aimed squarely at the introvert, the person who replays conversations in their head, or, yeah, anyone who feels like small talk is, and I love this quote from the guide, a hostage negotiation.
That line really lands,
Okay.
doesn't it? And the strength of the whole approach, I think, is how it immediately shifts your perspective.
Yes, so.
Well, it tells you to stop thinking of social confidence as some, like, external skill you have to bolt on.
Okay.
Instead, it's framed as an internal acceptance, something you unlock within yourself. We're not learning a bunch of new, complicated rules. It's more like giving yourself permission to maybe break some of the old ones you thought you had to follow.
Okay, let's dig into that foundational idea first, because if you don't buy into that, the tips won't really stick, right?
Right. Exactly.
So the usual story we hear is, be confident means be louder, be funnier, basically change who you are. But this guide says, nope.
Completely rejects it. Yeah. It says very clearly that confidence is not about trying to warp your personality into something it isn't,
Right.
or squeezing into this, like, performative box that doesn't fit you.
Huh.
The guide argues that effort, trying to be someone else, is actually what causes a lot of the anxiety.
Because you can't keep it up.
Exactly. It's exhausting and unsustainable.
Yeah.
So the key insight, and it puts it really well, is that confidence is more about embracing your awkward.
Embracing it, not hiding it.
Yeah, and showing up anyway, even if you feel awkward. And just taking small steps to feel genuinely more comfortable in your own skin, like adjusting your own internal thermostat.
Yeah.
Not trying to redecorate the whole room.
That feels like a huge weight lifted, honestly. Because if you think you're the only one feeling that social dread, it's completely isolating.
Yeah.
But the guide gives this amazing context, this sort of aha moment, when it says, and this is a direct quote, most people are just as weird as you are.
That's the game changer.
Uh-huh.
And it's incredibly practical, too, not just some nice idea.
How so?
Well, think about it. If you actually believe that the person interviewing you, or the person you're trying to talk to at a party,
Yeah.
is probably also caught up in their own head, maybe worrying if they sound stupid or if their fly is down or whatever,
Okay.
suddenly the pressure just drops, doesn't it? The social stakes feel lower.
It shifts your focus. Instead of worrying about performing perfectly.
You can focus on connecting, even imperfectly.
Yeah.
Once you accept that, we're all a bit awkward.
It's the human condition.
Right. You stop seeing every chat as a high-stakes test and more like, okay, we're just two slightly weird humans sharing a moment.
Yeah.
And the guide suggests that acceptance is the starting point. That's what lets you navigate things, quote, one awkward moment at a time.
That reframing is so key. It lets you move past just beating yourself up and actually, participate. Participate, exactly.
Okay, so let's get into the practical toolkit now.
Oh,
Just because we need the specifics. The guide tackles 3 big stumbling blocks.
Right.
First up, starting strong. Or, as the guide puts it, how to start conversations without sounding like a malfunctioning robot. That initial moment can be terrifying.
Yeah.
What's the actual tactic here?
Okay, so the malfunctioning robot often comes from relying on those really generic, almost pre-programmed lines, right?
How are you? What do you do? Yeah.
Exactly. So the guide offers something it calls the observation opener.
Observation opener.
Instead of asking a big, potentially awkward question, you just comment on something neutral, something external that you're both experiencing right there.
Michael.
Well, if you're at an event, maybe comment on the, I don't know, terrible music or the surprisingly good snacks.
Clear.
If you're waiting in line somewhere, maybe a comment about the long wait or something interesting nearby.
Ah, okay. So you're lowering the risk straight away.
Mm.
If I say something like, wow, this coffee is actually amazing, it's easy for the other person to just agree or disagree.
Exactly. It's low stakes.
I'm not asking them to, like, bare their soul in the first 10 seconds.
Precisely. And the guide says this works because it anchors the conversation in the immediate shared reality. It feels more natural, less like an interrogation.
Right.
It gets you past needing any big emotional reveal right at the start, which is, huge if you're feeling anxious. The advice is basically shared annoyance or shared pleasure makes for better small talk than asking about life goals right off the bat.
That makes so much sense.
Yeah.
Avoids that interview vibe.
And it helps you avoid sounding robotic. An observation is naturally human, maybe a bit subjective. It lets a little bit of you show, even in that first line.
Okay, observation opener, got it. Challenge number 2. The dreaded dead air. That silence descends, and inside you're just screaming.
The internal alarm bells, yeah.
So we need to know how to deal with silence,
Yeah.
like a pro, or at least like someone not panicking inside. What's the tactic for that void?
Well, the guide actually offers kind of a two-part strategy here. First part is about managing yourself, your internal reaction.
It basically gives you permission to pause, explicitly.
Mm.
We feel like silence is this failure, this conversational black hole we have to fill immediately.
Totally.
But the guide pushes back. What if
Yeah.
it's not an ending? What if it's just a pause, a moment to breathe?
Okay, intellectually I get that, but practically when the panic is rising, my instinct is just blurt something out. Anything.
Right, right. And that leads to the second tactic, the action part, the repeat and reflect.
Repeat and reflect.
Yeah. So if you feel that silence starting to stretch, instead of scrambling for a totally new topic, just gently repeat or summarize the last interesting point the other person made. And then followed it up with a simple, open-ended reflection or question about it.
Can you give an example?
Sure. Let's say they were just talking about learning pottery. You could say, wow, learning pottery, huh? That sounds like it takes a lot of patience. What was the trickiest part for you starting out?
Oh, I see. So you're showing you were listening.
Yes, validating their contribution.
And you're gently handing the conversational ball back to them without having to invent something completely random and awkward.
Exactly. It keeps the focus on them for a moment, which buys your brain some time. And it often deepens the current topic instead of jumping nervously to something else.
So the silence becomes a cue to maybe go a bit deeper, not just change the subject frantically. I like that. Managing the panic by refocusing outward. That feels very doable for an overthinker.
It really is. The source emphasizes that the moment you can internally reframe silence as neutral, just a beat, you stop projecting your own anxiety onto it. And often the other person relaxes too.
Okay, good stuff. We've started strong with the observation opener. We've handled the silence with repeat and reflect. Now for the exit. This is where I often crash and burn.
The awkward escape.
Totally. You might have had a decent chat, low awkwardness, and then you need to leave, but you don't want it to feel like you're suddenly ejecting from a plane.
Right, the abrupt departure.
So what's the specific advice for how to exit awkward situations with grace, humor, and your dignity mostly intact? I love that. Mostly intact.
Yeah, it's realistic. The guide's solution here is pretty clever because it takes the feeling of personal rejection out of it. It advises using the pre-planned external commitment exit.
External commitment.
Yeah. The key is you never make the reason for leaving about them or the conversation itself.
Yeah.
Like, you don't say, well, I got to stop talking to you now.
Okay, definitely don't say that.
No. You make the exit about some other obligation you have. Something external, neutral, and preferably pre-existing, even if you just decided on it 2 minutes ago in your head.
So you need a line ready.
Exactly. Have a short, simple line rehearsed. Something like, well, it was really great chatting, but I promised myself I'd grab another drink before the bar closes. Or, hey, I need to track down my friend before they leave, so I better make a move. Great talking.
The power is that it's external. It's not you rejecting them. It's you needing to go do this other thing.
Precisely. It gives you that clear, polite out that, overthinkers really crave. Takes the guesswork and the potential hurt feelings out of it.
And it allows for that dignity mostly intact part. No big dramatic scene needed, just a clean break. Having the line ready gives you that little confidence boost too.
For sure. It removes the, well, I should probably fumbling moment.
Okay, so we've got the mechanics, observation opener, repeat and reflect, external commitment, exit, really practical stuff. But this all needs to tie back to that bigger goal, right? Genuine connection.
Absolutely.
If you're just running these plays like a robot, you're kind of missing the whole point of the guide's philosophy.
Hmm.
What does it say about authenticity, about actually being you?
Yeah, the guide circles back to that really strongly towards the end.
Mm,
It gives advice on, quote, embracing your quirks and connecting with people without faking a thing.
okay.
It makes it clear that these tactics, they're like the tools to get you through the door and out the door smoothly. The entry and exit points, the guardrails maybe. But the actual conversation, the stuff that happens in between those points, that's where the real connection potential lies. And that can only really happen if you're willing to show up as your actual, maybe slightly weird self.
Do the tools help you stay in the situation long enough for the real connection to potentially happen?
Exactly. The whole guide, if you look at its structure, it blends these practical low-risk tips with this really supportive, understanding, humorous tone.
Mm,
And the underlying message is always, confidence isn't about not being awkward. It's about accepting the awkwardness, both yours and theirs.
mm-hmm.
Success isn't being perfectly smooth. It's just being willing to be yourself, navigating it all like it says one awkward moment at a time.
Which is just such a massive relief for anyone who's tired of feeling like they have to put on a performance all the time.
Right.
It's not about winning the social game. It's about feeling okay, just playing it as yourself,
Yeah.
making the room feel safer for you.
Couldn't have said it better. So, wrapping up this deep dive, let's crystallize the two main takeaways for you, the listener. First, confidence really starts with acceptance, not a personality overhaul.
Right. You don't need to change who you are. Just decide to show up and be okay with potentially being a little weird. Because guess what?
Everyone else is weird too, probably. And second takeaway, you now have specific, concrete strategies, tools in your pocket.
The observation opener for starting.
Repeat and reflect for managing those silences.
And the external commitment for making a graceful exit.
Just knowing those steps,
Yeah.
having a line ready in your head, that can be the difference between feeling panicked and feeling, well, mostly in control.
Okay, so here's the final thought to leave you with, building on this whole idea. If social confidence really does come from accepting that, deep down, most people are kind of weird.
Mm-hmm.
What's one small, weird quirk about yourself? You know, the one you usually hide or feel a bit embarrassed about. What if you were ready to just embrace that, maybe even share it?
Ooh, interesting.
Because maybe that willingness, dropping the mask just a little, maybe that's the real deep dive into finding social freedom.